So first things first, we are going to prime the eyes, and normally I actually start with the face. I know that I've been doing that a lot, and I shouldn't because I always get a bunch of fallout out of my cheeks, but we're starting with the eyes, and then I am applying some clear brow gel. This is going to help make that feathery eyebrow effect because my eyebrows have been going through it, okay? They have their own story right now. They've been growing out for a couple of months, so I'm just letting them do their thing. And then I'm going to set the eyes with some translucent powder and move on to the transition shade from the Soft Glam palette. I am using Orange Soda, I believe is what it's called, and I'm actually using the brush that came with the palette. Now, I don't like this one, and the thing is, when I got my Modern Renaissance palette, I loved the brush because I thought that it worked well with the shadows. So I don't know, like right now I have mixed feelings with this palette. I did create another look and you're going to see that soon, so make sure that you're subscribed to this channel so that you don't miss out on it. But yeah, I just did not like how this brush performed at all. I don't know if it was the brush or if it was the shadow. Like, these are Anastasia shadows, okay? So I don't believe that it's the shadow, but I did have some trouble blending a couple of these shades out when I was using this brush. That's why you see me moving back and forth, because it just wasn't working out. Some of these shades, you're gonna see me just look at them in the viewfinder and just something was a little bit off. I don't know if I got a bad palette. Anyways, right now I am just prepping my crease. I am going to cut it just a little bit, just like one of those half cuts. I've been into it at the moment, so I'm going back and forth, just blending out the crease, making sure that all the colors are blending together seamlessly, transitioning into more darker and more darker shades. So I started with a very light transition shade and I am deepening up the look. Now, I don't really know why, because I initially wanted to do a fresh, soft glam type of look, which it did not turn out to be. That Cypress Umber shade is one of my favorites for deepening out a crease because it has these like very mauve-y deep undertones to it. So like I said, I was going to do a little bit of a half crease. I've recently found out the perfect technique for me, and that is to look up and down and all around. That way I create a new crease. I have very slightly hooded lids, so this helps out a lot in creating that sharp definition. So then I am taking this light gold shade from the palette, and I am applying that where the concealer went, and I'm just packing that on, and you'll see me go back and forth with these shadows. They do tend to fade away after all of the blending, but I was having a hard time for some reason. This was the first time that I used this palette, by the way, so this is the first impression, so to say. And then I applied some of this rustic deep brown chocolatey type of reddish undertone color. I know that was a lot of spiel for one eyeshadow, but I decided to amp up the look a little bit more, even though I feel like I had such a hard time blending this color in, and I think that at the end of the look it still wasn't well blended. But I am now cleaning out all of the fallout that there would have been, so that way when I apply my primer, my foundation, and I just move on to the face, I don't have those loose shadows all over that could possibly blend in with the foundation. We don't want that. So I've been correcting my under eyes lately because they have been dark, girl. They have been dark. I have been putting in a lot of work, so I'm brightening up those by correcting it with a peach undertoned corrector. And then I am now applying some primer. This is the e.l.f. primer, color correcting primer. I actually received this by mistake. They effed up my order, but I decided to keep it anyways, so I didn't make a big deal out of it, but I ended up loving it, so that was a sweet surprise. And I decided to change up my foundation because I have been using the same exact one lately, the same exact two actually. I've been going back and forth, so I decided to go in with the CoverGirl Elixir foundation, and I never realized just how dewy and fresh this foundation is. It does oxidize a little bit on me, which I was not a fan of, but it is a really good match for me. And then I'm going to go in with this concealer. This is the new L'Oreal? What? This is a new Laura Mercier concealer, and I have been testing it out. I don't know if you realize how much I've been using it, but you're gonna see a video on this concealer really soon. I applied it under my eyes like I usually would, down the bridge of my nose, a little bit in the middle of the forehead, on top of my upper lip, and on my chin. And I'm just using my Fenty Beauty sponge. I've really been a fan of this, and I have to change my sponge. But I'm blending that all in together, and I'm setting it with the CYO Loose Fixing Powder. I really do like this, but I'm not a fan of it under the eye. I just want to experiment with other powders, so if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments down below, please. I would truly appreciate it. I'm now highlighting the inner corners, and I used the shade Fairy. I forgot to put a clip in. I'm sorry. And finally, we're moving back to the eyes and applying that lower lash line shadow. I love a smoked out lower lash line. I think that it just creates bigger eyes, and it just makes the overall look put together. I just used the same transition shades, so just the same orange soda and those other two that I used in the transition. I just don't know them off the top of my head. And then I applied some lashes. Of course, I lined my upper lash line with some black shadow from the palette, and I actually messed up my, it's gonna look on your left, so I messed up on my left eyelash. It looks so wonky, but it was super late. It was like 11:30, and as you can see, I have to pretty much breathe on my mirror in order to see my eyes because I don't have contacts right now. But I'm going back in with that blending brush again. I was having major issues trying to have these shadows look not patchy, and I'm going to my go-to contour shade, the Dulce de Leche palette from Wet n Wild. Well, it's their contour palette in Dulce de Leche. I can't find another contour shade that doesn't make me look muddy, so that's just what I use. And of course, my 10 color palette blush. What? My 10 blush palette. My 10 blush. What the freak? My 10 color blush palette from BH Cosmetics. And of course, I'm going to use the Anastasia and Amrezy highlighter. It's just, if you want that wet goldeny look, and it's not even a gold, it's like a very pale yellowy gold, which I love, and it's just so beaming. I mean, like, did you see that Cupid's bow highlight? Crazy. And I've finally found the correct way to contour my nose. If you guys want a full video on that, let me know. So moving on, we're going to the lips. This is BH Cosmetics lip liner in Stripped, and I hadn't used it in a while, so I decided to pick it up, but it wasn't my favorite. And this is a new Too Faced lip product that I recently purchased. It is not as I thought it was gonna be a little bit more brown undertoned, but it's not, you know, what can I do? So I ended up going in with the CYO Cosmetics lip liner to make it a little bit warmer. I'm just not used to having pinks on my lips. I don't feel like it flatters me all that much. Thank you guys so much for watching. All of the products will be listed in the description box below as always. Leave me all of your suggestions also in the comments down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you did indeed like it, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to press that notification bell, that way you're notified whenever I post a video, which is every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye.